Daniel stood outside the glass doors of a flagship tech store on a cool September morning, coffee in hand, credit card ready. He was about to spend $1,199 on a phone that was marginally faster than the one already resting in his pocket. He knew every detail of the new release. He had consumed the rumors, dissected the leaks, memorized the benchmarks. He could recite the processor improvements, the camera upgrades, the slightly brighter display. What he could not clearly explain was what his current phone failed to do. It called, it texted, it streamed, it navigated, it took photos that looked great on social media. It handled email, banking, and every app he relied on. It was a year and a half old and functioned flawlessly. The night before, he had used it to watch the live stream announcing its successor. And that was when everything shifted. Nothing about his device had changed overnight. The battery hadn't worsened, the screen hadn't dimmed, the apps hadn't stopped working. But as he watched the polished presentation unveil the future, something subtle happened. Satisfaction turned into restlessness. The phone that had felt premium 24 hours earlier now felt dated. Not because it was worse, because something newer existed. The transformation didn't occur inside the hardware, it occurred inside Daniel's perception. The keynote didn't just introduce a product, it quietly reframed the one he already owned. Features he had never once wished for suddenly seemed essential. Improvements he would never notice suddenly felt urgent. A perfectly capable device had been psychologically downgraded. He didn't actually need a new phone. He needed to believe he did. And billions of dollars in marketing, product strategy, and cultural choreography were designed to make sure he believed exactly that. Daniel bought the phone. He spent the weekend migrating photos, logging back into apps, admiring how familiar everything felt. By Monday morning, the new experience was indistinguishable from the old one. The excitement faded in 3 days. The financing plan stretched across 2 years, and in roughly 18 months, when the next announcement arrived, he would feel the same itch all over again. And I spend an unreasonable amount of time thinking about why perfectly functional technology begins to feel inadequate the moment a replacement is announced. If you've ever upgraded a device and realized weeks later that nothing meaningful changed, if you've ever noticed your phone feeling slower right around the time a new model dropped, then you already know something strange is happening. What I'm about to show you isn't about gadgets, it's about a system. A system engineered to extract money not through breakthrough innovation, but through manufactured dissatisfaction. I call it the upgrade illusion, and once you recognize it, product launches will never look the same again. Here is the fundamental truth about modern consumer technology. The goal is not to sell you one excellent device. The goal is to sell you the same device repeatedly, wrapped in incremental refinements and presented as transformation. The largest tech companies on Earth have perfected a subtle form of psychological leverage. They do not need to degrade your current device physically. They only need to alter how you feel about it. That is far easier and far more profitable. Every fall, like clockwork, a presentation unfolds. Carefully edited videos, controlled lighting, applause at precisely timed moments, influencers primed with early access, headlines synchronized across media. And suddenly, millions of people look down at their phones and think, maybe it's time. The data behind this cycle is staggering. In the United States, the average smartphone is replaced roughly every 2.8 years, about 33 months. Yet modern smartphones are engineered to remain functional for 5 to 7 years with reasonable care. The average selling price now exceeds $850, with premium models regularly surpassing $1,000. Upgrade every 2.8 years over a 40-year adult life, and you'll spend more than $12,000 on smartphones alone. That figure excludes cases, chargers, warranties, accessories, and financing costs that soften the psychological blow of the upfront price. And smartphones are only one category. Layer in laptops swapped every 3 to 4 years at $1,200, tablets at $600, smartwatches at $400, wireless earbuds every couple of years, smart speakers, streaming devices, home automation hubs, each marketed as essential, each eventually reframed as outdated. Industry reports estimate that the average American household spends around $1,700 per year on consumer electronics. Over 40 years, that's $68,000 in direct spending. Invest that same annual amount at an average 8% return, and the opportunity cost climbs toward $340,000. You are not merely purchasing technology, you are purchasing scheduled dissatisfaction. Let's break down how the illusion operates. The first mechanism is software-driven obsolescence. Operating systems evolve annually, and each new version demands slightly more from the hardware. More memory, more processing headroom, more background activity. Older devices technically remain supported, but performance gradually erodes. Animations lag, apps reload more frequently. Battery life feels shorter. In 2017, Apple acknowledged throttling older iPhones to manage battery degradation, eventually agreeing to a $500 million settlement. For years, users had sensed their devices slowing around new releases. It turned out they weren't imagining it. Even beyond throttling, software inflation is real. Your 3-year-old phone can run the latest update, but not as effortlessly as before. The solution presented? Buy the hardware optimized for the software. The second mechanism is hardware design that discourages repair. Batteries are sealed, screens are fused, components are proprietary. Independent repair becomes difficult or expensive. A battery that costs roughly $15 to manufacture might cost $100 or more to replace through official channels. For many consumers, that repair fee becomes the tipping point. If I'm spending that much, I might as well upgrade. That calculation is not accidental. The third mechanism is the annual release cadence itself. Predictability creates anticipation. Anticipation creates dissatisfaction. A phone purchased in January feels cutting edge. By September, unchanged and fully functional, it feels like last year's model. The keynote does not simply promote the new device, it reframes the old one. Camera demos subtly imply your photos are inferior. Benchmark charts suggest your performance is lagging. Feature lists imply you're missing out. You are not just watching an announcement, you are witnessing a meticulously crafted narrative designed to shift your baseline. Now, you might argue that technology genuinely improves, and it does, but we need to define what better actually means. A flagship phone from 2022 and one from 2025 can both handle 95% of what users actually do. Messaging, browsing, streaming, social media, navigation, photography, productivity. The newer device may open apps 3 to 5% faster. It may capture marginally improved low-light photos. It may offer slightly higher peak brightness outdoors. These gains are real. They are also nearly imperceptible in daily life. You cannot meaningfully feel a 5% speed difference. You cannot see the distinction between 20 and 24 megapixels on a 6-inch display. A study from Wayne State University found that users struggled to reliably distinguish between flagship phones across generations in daily tests, in blind tests. In controlled benchmarks, differences appeared dramatic. In real-world use, experiences converge. What you are paying for is not a radically superior tool. You are paying for the reassurance of owning the latest version. And there is an alternative most people overlook. If your current device works, the most rational purchase may be no purchase at all. And if you genuinely need an upgrade, a refurbished flagship from 2 generations ago often delivers 95% of the experience at roughly half the price. A refurbished iPhone 13 Pro in 2025, for example, performs nearly identically to the latest Pro model in everyday tasks, at a fraction of the cost. The upgrade illusion convinces the original owner to trade it in early, creating a market of high-performance devices discounted not because they are inadequate, but because they are no longer new. Now, let's examine the lifetime math. Imagine two individuals with identical needs. Person A upgrades their phone every 2 years at $1,000, replaces laptops every 3 years at $1,400, updates tablets and accessories on manufacturer timelines. Person B keeps phones for 4 years, buys refurbished models, replaces laptop batteries instead of entire machines, and upgrades accessories only when they fail. Person A spends roughly $2,800 annually on personal tech. Person B spends around $900. That $1,900 annual difference, invested at 8% over 30 years, grows to approximately $214,000, not because of one expensive phone, because of compounded incremental upgrades. And there's another dimension rarely discussed: environmental impact. Global e-waste exceeds 50 million metric tons per year and continues to rise. Mining rare earth minerals like lithium and cobalt carries significant ecological and human costs. The majority of a smartphone's lifetime carbon footprint comes from manufacturing, not usage. Extending a device's lifespan by even 2 years meaningfully reduces its environmental impact. Keeping your phone longer is not backward, it is economically and environmentally rational. The desire to upgrade feels personal, but in many cases it was planted. You did not wake up discontent with your phone. You consumed content designed to create that feeling. Recognition is the first step toward control. So how do you escape? Define your actual needs. List what you use your device for daily. If your current hardware handles those tasks competently, the theoretical advantages of a new model are irrelevant. Maintain what you own. Replace batteries, use protective cases, remove unused apps, reset devices when performance degrades. Many slow phones are suffering from clutter, not obsolescence. When you must upgrade, consider refurbished. Certified devices often include warranties and deliver flagship performance at mid-range prices. And, most importantly, set upgrade timelines based on functionality, not marketing calendars. A quality smartphone should serve you 4 to 5 years, a laptop 6 or more. Each time you upgrade prematurely, you reinforce the system that engineered the dissatisfaction in the first place. Daniel is not irresponsible, he is predictable. The system counts on predictability. It counts on September. The upgrade illusion works because it changes how you see what you already own. Your device did not become worse overnight, your perception did. You are not behind. You are being told you are behind by people who profit when you believe it. Keep what works, replace what truly fails, invest the difference. And when the next keynote arrives, watch it with curiosity, not urgency.